Welcome to the JA Ourselves JA in a Day volunteer resource video. In the first session, students practice personal economics by making choices. Write in the student name tags if needed or have the teacher do it for you. Greet the students and share your name, your job, and why you are a JA volunteer. With the teacher's help, have the students move to a designated floor area in the room. Young students often do best seated on the floor in a semicircle around the presenter. Remind students that good listeners sit quietly, pay attention, and raise their hands to speak. Project or display the choice vocabulary flashcard and ask the questions as listed in your guide. Share an example with the class about a time you had to make a choice. Now show the students some picture cards to help them practice making choices. Decide in advance if you'll have the students raise their hands and share their choices with the class, work with a partner, or move to one side of the room or the other depending on the choice they made. Display each picture card, reading through the prompting questions in your guide. Allow students to take a moment to make a choice and respond before moving to the next card. Before presenting the last two picture cards, tell students that when we buy things like fruit, clothing, or books, we have to spend money. Introduce the money vocabulary card and have a brief discussion with the students. Then present the last two picture cards. Praise students for being good listeners and sharing their choices with the group. Have students return to their seats. Next, distribute the junior journal mini books. Tell the students that their journals are special books they will work in today. Ask students to get their crayons, then walk them through the steps to write in their names and color in the picture on the cover. After 5 minutes or so, ask students to pause and turn to page 1, this or that. Hold up the page for students to see or use the digital asset to introduce the activity. Read the prompt aloud and have students complete the page. You and the teacher can circulate around the room to assist students as needed. As you wrap up session 1, congratulate the students on their good work, have them close their mini books, and put them aside. Display the needs and wants poster as you transition to session 2. Consider having the students sit in a semicircle on the floor around you again. Share that in this session, they're going to learn about making wise choices with money. Display the need and want kit or digital vocabulary cards and engage the students in helping to define the terms and share examples. Display or project the needs and wants poster and have students examine the shopping cart and items pictured inside it. Tell the class that they will make some important grown-up decisions today about needs and wants. Let students know you'd like their help to find 6 things we need in the shopping cart. Using your volunteer guide, slowly read aloud the rhyme. Pick student volunteers to stand and find the items on the poster as you mention them. Circle the item or have the students circle them. Next, count the number of circled items on the poster with the students. There should be 6 of them. Let students know you'd now like their help to find 6 things we want in the shopping cart. Slowly read aloud the second rhyme from your guide. Pick student volunteers to stand and find the items on the poster as you mention them. Underline the item or have the students underline them. Finally, count the number of underlined items on the poster with the students. There should be 6 of them. Reinforce their good work, telling the students they did a great job finding needs and wants. Have students quietly return to their seats for the next activity. Use the steps in your guide to first explain the activity, then distribute the junior journal mini books and 1 needs and wants sticker sheet to each student. Ask students to turn to page 2, I can sort needs and wants, in their mini books. Walk through each of the activity steps, pausing to allow students time to work. At this point, you'll have been teaching for more than an hour, so it may be a good time for a stretch break. Ask students or the teacher if a short 5-minute break would be helpful. Allow students to stand beside their desks to move and stretch and get the wiggles out. As you move to Session 3, tell students that now they'll be introduced to a storybook character and her plans to earn money. Seat the students as you did last time in a semicircle on the floor around you. Start by asking the class, where does money come from? How do people get it? Accept all answers. Use the vocabulary flashcards, either digital or the ones from your kit, to start a discussion with the class and introduce the new vocabulary words for this session. Tell the students you will now read a story about a girl who wants to earn money so she can have a party for her friend. Remind students you would like them to sit quietly and listen while you read the story. Project or display the Welcome Home storybook. Point to the cover and read the title. As you read aloud, consider pausing to ask some of the questions listed in your volunteer guide. After you finish reading the story, ask some of the questions printed in the guide to check for student understanding. For example, where does the story take place? Answer, Cassie's home. Or, which job do you think Cassie liked the best? Accept all answers. Thank the students for sitting quietly and have them return to their seats for the next activity. Distribute the Junior Journal mini books and have students turn to page 3, Cassie's house. Ask the students to take out their crayons. Review the activity steps with the class. Tell students you want them to do 3 things. First, complete the maze. Second, circle the items that represent the jobs Cassie's dad told her she could do to earn money. Answers are listed in your volunteer guide. Third, count the items. Answer, 11. Have the students start the maze activity. Walk around to offer assistance and encouragement as needed. Use the prompting questions in your guide to engage students as they work. Allow students several minutes to work in their mini books, then wrap up the activity and congratulate the class for their good work. If students finish early, they can draw a picture of themselves doing a job they like in the back of their mini books. Transition to Session 4 by letting students know that next they will learn about saving money. Display the 3 Little Nickels poster and have the students sit in a semicircle on the floor again. Ask what they recall from the conversation when they learned about the many ways to earn money. Suggest that saving some of their money is a good idea. Introduce the new vocabulary term save, then hold up a pop-up bank for students to see and put a dollar bill or coin into the slot. Ask a few students with their hand raised to say, "I have a savings goal," and then share what they are saving for. Tell students that they will each get a pop-up bank to take home at the end of the program. Then introduce the additional vocabulary terms for this session. Next, point to the 3 Little Nickels poster and have students find a picture of a nickel. Ask, "How much is a nickel worth?" Then have students listen quietly as you read the poster and demonstrate the 3 Little Nickels finger play. Once you're finished, repeat the finger play and invite the class to join you. Flip the poster and ask, "How much is a quarter worth?" Demonstrate the second finger play, 3 shiny quarters, then invite students to join you. Thank the students for sitting quietly and have them return to their seats. Ask the teacher to help you arrange the students into small table groups of 4. Once everyone is seated, distribute the Junior Journal mini books and have students turn to page 4, color the pig and save. Tell the students they will pretend to deposit money by rolling the die and saying, "I am going to deposit $1, $2, or more money into my piggy bank." Be sure to tell students that the dollar signs on the pig are symbols that represent 1 or more dollar bills. Have students watch as you work with one group to demonstrate the game steps. Roll a die and count the dots. Find the number on the pig. Color the section that contains that number. Tell students to color only one section of the pig during their turn. Ask students to get their crayons and ask the teacher to help pass out a dice to each group. Allow about 8 minutes for students to play the game, then call time. Before moving on, take 2 or 3 minutes to review what students have learned so far today and tell them in this last session of the day they will be introduced to storybook characters who earn money for a worthy cause. As class begins, have students sit on the floor around you and define the word give, and have students repeat it after you. Use your guide to have a brief discussion about giving. Consider sharing a story with the class about your experiences with a worthy cause or organization that benefits the community. Next, you will read a story about a boy named Charlie and his classmates and how they earn money to help their neighbors. Ask the students to sit quietly and listen while you read the story. Project or display the Charlie Plants a Garden storybook. Point to the cover and read the title. As you read aloud, consider pausing to ask some of the questions listed in your volunteer guide. After you finish the story, use some of the questions to review with the students. Thank the students for listening quietly and have them return to their seats for the next activity. After everyone is seated, ask the students to get their glue sticks out and place them on their desk. With the teacher's help, distribute a story cards sheet to each student. Ask the students to carefully separate the panels and place them face up in front of them. Tell the students the cards show things that happened in the beginning, middle, and end of the story. Hold up each card and allow students to tell you what they see. Next, pass out the Junior Journal mini books and have students turn to page 5, My Giving page. Display or project the page for students to see.
You gotta put them in the right order, right? The order of the story.
Ask the students what happened first in the story. The answer is, Charlie listens to Grandma Laura talk about corn plants. Then ask the students to find that picture card and place it in box 1 in their junior journals. Model the activity and walk around to make sure students pick the right card. Follow the rest of the activity prompts in your guide. Ask for one student to retell the story using the sequence shown in his or her journal. Then have the students glue their cards in place in the appropriate boxes. Wrap up the session with the questions provided, allowing students to consider why it is important to give and ways they can share their time or money with others. Thank the students for their good work, and if time permits, ask them to share with you what they learned and most enjoyed about today. Tell the class they are now ready for graduation. Distribute the certificates of achievement, postcard with magnet, and pop-up banks, shaking each student's hand, congratulating them on their accomplishment in completing the program. Let students know that the postcard with magnet and pop-up bank can be taken home and shared with their families. You can leave any extra materials and the storybooks with the teacher or return them to the JA office. We hope that you enjoyed your JA in a Day experience and will participate again in the future. Please share your feedback by completing the online survey referenced in your volunteer guide. Thank you for being a Junior Achievement volunteer.